You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales. Streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us again on this beautiful Thursday evening. You're watching Sketch Up with Mog and Mel on The Experience. Now, we've got three special guests with us today. Two from Pork Chop Express. They do a book called Night of the Chihuahuas. So we have David Quiroz, the writer, with us, and Nathan Price, who helped publish the book, and he's coming out with his own book as well called Killer Hair. We're going to find out what that book is about. We also have Phillip Ginn. Now, he's a returning artist that was with us earlier this year when we recently opened up the show. And he's here to tell us about his new Kickstarter called Finale, a 28-page story that's written by Travis Corwin, and he does the interior art for that. So we'll take a look at that. And, of course, we've got several auctions that we're going to be doing tonight, and we've got a giveaway maybe that we'll be able to do. And, of course, Phillip and Mog will be drawing that art pieces that you'll be able to bid on. All that is happening tonight and a lot more that we'll be talking about as well. So stay tuned. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome everyone. We've got David Quiroz with us, Phillip Ginn, and Nathan Price with us as well. And we'll be getting to those guys in a minute. Now, you may have heard this week we lost somebody again, a really good guy, Keith Giffen. He left us yesterday. And it's sad for guys like me to see our legends go like that. You know, those are Keith Giffen was a writer and an artist, but most notably for writing. And I remember him early on. He created an iconic figure that we don't see too much of on DC Comics, Lobo. And that was a spin-off series from Green Lantern 141 and 142 for you historians out there. He's also the co-creator of Rocket Raccoon. Keith was he was a funny guy, a super nice guy. We're gonna miss him a lot, but he truly left his mark. And don't forget to hit that follow button. We'd like to continue to give you this fantastic program and content you see right here on The Experience. Like if you were watching Jen King before the hour, you saw that she had a wonderful array of Wonder Woman comics from the Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age, and into today's current comics. And if you didn't catch that, you can catch that at your convenience on the Experience channel on YouTube. Now, we also had a wonderful show last week where we had just pretty much an art jam that included Eric Arriaga, Martin Zavala, and Ruben Rosas. And if you're going to New York City Comic Con this weekend, say hello to those guys. They're all going to be there, along with our other friends like Fabrice Sapolsky, Ron Zabala, Tony Moy, Johnny Giang, Donna Guido, Anna Zhao, David Nakayama, Jay Lee, David Mack, Michael Dosey, Pat Shang, and Sahad Shah. And you know who else is going to be there? Our very own Nick Barucci. So drop by their tables, give them some support, say hello to them as well. Okay, so we have in the house, it is a Night of Chihuahuas. Okay, and I don't know if that's going to be good and bad, but we're going to check into that. Okay, so David, Nate, whose idea was that?
That was all mine. I wish I could tell you I had I wish I could tell you there was some great origin story for it, but it was just literally I had a very old Chihuahua it still to this day remains the meanest dog I've ever owned. She was 18 and toothless and blind, and she still chased everybody off the yard and owned the house. And I always used to think to myself, like, if you could do all the things that you think you can do, you would be illegal to own. And it just kind of went from there of like what would happen if these Chihuahuas were suddenly had the attitude to back or the strength to back up their attitudes.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so we're gonna talk a little bit more to that, but Nathan, I understand, doesn't have too much time, so he's kind of like skipping class right now. So let's hear his side of the publishing company. Now, you mentioned that you're coming out with your own series called Killer Hair,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
All right. Is that how soon can we expect that to be out there?
It's gonna be a little while. I got the like second draft done. Dave's been kind to help kind of usher me along. So I'm trying to iron out the script. And for class, it's funny enough, I'm taking a comics creators class because I want to soak up as much as I can. And my teacher is Jay Photos. He's awesome. And I have to create an 8-page comic for class. So I'm actually creating 5 pages from the Killer Hair script to make something. So I've
What
got
is
3 pages, and
what's the name of that class?
it's just I think it's just comic creators class. It's at a local college out here in Phoenix.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, we don't usually hear, we don't, well, in California, do we hear about several classes now that you can take at the college level? Is there a lot that's being offered there as well?
I'm aware of a couple classes here at the local JC. I don't know about any at ASU, which is our major university in the Valley,
Hmm.
or one of the, I think it's the biggest. But I do know some people from out of state. Friend Max, who went to Cal State Fullerton for illustration, and he's a I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if there's other programs, but that's what I know for now.
Now, is this the same J Photos that does also work in the comics industry?
Yeah.
Okay, so he is, yeah. So if you people may not be familiar with his name, but definitely you're in the right class with somebody that has the experience there. Uh, Are you deriving all your resources in learning how to write a comic book from the class, or are there sources that you are looking into?
I've been trying to just learn as much as I can. I mean, David and I met in, I don't know what year it
Long
was.
time ago. Long time ago.
I,
A long
I
time.
wrote movie reviews for David and I were both in the film industry, and I wrote movie reviews for a local printed publication, and they let me open up an indie section, and I reviewed Night of the Chihuahuas, which was actually a movie. If you guys didn't know that, and I loved it. It had heart. So David and I kind of stuck together moving forward. We made a movie called Promise,
Mhm.
and then somewhere in the aftermath of that, we thought it'd be
Oh,
fun to make Night of the Chihuahuas come to life. So we set out to do that in 2011. Started a Kickstarter. It didn't go very well,
uh-huh.
and picked the ball back up in I think 2021. For me, I mean, it's coming into a new industry and really trying to make something that stands out and people will pick up and respect. I'm trying to learn as much as I can. Like if you guys know Shelley Bond,
Mhm.
taking some classes from her,
Okay.
just trying to learn. I have no
It's
idea.
and it's a different market from 2011 to now,
Yeah.
right? And we've experienced quite a lot of changes. The environment has definitely changed, and we've had to change with that. When you first were trying to launch that series, um, how were you trying to do that back then?
Well, back then we really were focused on making this a graphic novel. So I know Nathan gave a little bit of setup as far as like this had been we had tried to make a movie out of it.
Uh-huh.
It was possibly the worst movie ever made. It was like, this story with killer chihuahuas, we had 3 chihuahuas, none of them were trained. None of us knew what we were doing. We had never made a movie before. And so it was terrible. And I always thought to myself, like, I would tell people about it and they'd say, this story sounds awesome, I want to see it. And I'd say no, because it sucks. And but everybody would always say, that is such a cool story, we need to see it happen. Once we realized that we wouldn't get enough money to remake it as a movie, we wanted to make it as a comic book where we could have art bring these like big scenes to life that we just didn't have the budget or talent to pull off in a film. So we were going to do a graphic novel. We were going to do like a 96-page graphic novel that was going to be the full adaptation. And I think that was where we went wrong, was that we bit off more than we could chew as from a Kickstarter perspective. We had no established audience or anything like that. We had some really talented artists that we were working with at the time, but we were tackling all at once and didn't work out because of what we were asking for. Coming back, mulling over it, learning from our lessons, coming back at it later, going for one issue at a time. Now all of a sudden people were willing to take a chance on it. And I think, Nathan, if you could chime in as well, but like, I really think that helped us out a lot.
Interesting. Now, you said that when you're doing it, you were trying to make a movie out of it, and then you decided to go into comics. Did you know how to create comics back then, or is that something that was totally new as well?
No, I'm just a fan. I've just always been a comic collector, and I devour them, I read them, keep them all around my house, and I had learned, so the craft of screenwriting is fairly similar, but it's not the same thing at all to writing a comic. There's still a lot of visuals that you have to keep in mind when you're writing for comics that translates into screenplays as well. So it was a crash course for me, learning how on the fly how to write a comic book, understanding though as a fan of comic books what would work, and that helped out quite a bit. So even though I was learning how to write, I also was with an eye towards what would I collect, what would I want to see, what kind of covers would I want to have displayed in my house, and things like that. And so putting the passion for comic books, learning how to do it, I really feel like the series, and the artists that we work with would probably tell you as well. The first scripts were like, oh man, you're doing way too much here. By the time the 5th script comes around, we really have a better understanding of it, and it's almost complete. The artist is nearing completion on it.
Did you find it easier to write a script for comics than versus the movie?
Yes, and only because of the privilege I've had of some of the artists that I've worked with, where you can collaborate with them, and it's such an open collaboration where as long as you're both of the understanding of what you're looking for in this panel, you can write, for instance, in one of the panels, it's like, 40 Chihuahuas come, barreling through the door, ready to tear people apart. You write that in a screenplay, and you're always thinking about budget. You're always thinking about what's this going to cost me. Like, there's no way I can afford that. I have to pare it down. So with comic books, the imagination, it's just like, as long as your artist is willing to fit everything into a panel, or communicates to you what they think a good vision would be, their sky's the limit, and there's really nothing holding you back there besides just how much space is in a panel. So I think comic books are a lot easier, but that's not to say that they're an easy thing to write, if that makes sense. They're still very difficult, and they're a specific craft that you really have to focus on. Just because you can write a really good novel, screenplay, short story, doesn't mean you could write a good comic book, and vice versa. So it's definitely something that's been a lot of fun to learn.
Now, when you write your script, are you writing a full script?
I plot out the entire story where I want it to go, and this is something that they teach you when you're screenwriting, when you're writing television series. And the story used to be, before like Netflix and Amazon were like killing series after 2 or 3 seasons, but you had to go in there prepared to pitch 5 seasons because they needed to see that this would have legs. And so when I'm coming up with an idea, I'm trying to come up with, is this a one-shot comic book, is this a limited series like 4 or 5 issues, or is this something that I want to have as a continuing arc? But you're always thinking about where the story could go. So I wrote Night of the Chihuahuas. I wrote all 5 issues at once. I just figured I knew where the story was going to go, what I wanted it to do. Some of the other projects I'm working on, we're taking one issue at a time, because they, we may not. It's not up to us if we can continue doing it. It's like if the audience isn't there for it, you want to make sure that you're at least telling a fun story in one issue. Where if God forbid you never get to make that second issue or third issue or whatever, you're not leaving the audience hanging too much, but you also had an idea of where it was going to go.
What issue are you on now?
Issue 4 just came out. Nathan, when did we release issue 4 again?
Oh, I said 5. I'm ahead of the game. We're almost done with 5. Issue 4 came out. Oh, I don't.
Okay, but so 4 is out, and we're waiting for 5. Is that it?
Correct, and then 5 is going to wrap up the story.
Okay, and you said issue 4 is that act running now, or is that done? That's done.
That's done. That's in stores. So
okay, all right. And then when can we expect issue 5 out?
End of November is what it's looking like.
That's in about like 6 weeks, 7 weeks or so. So that's going to be after Thanksgiving. Is that it?
We're hoping to have it ready for San Francisco Fan Expo.
Okay, so that's in like 6 weeks. Because it's kind of weird. The month of November has actually 5 Thursdays. So, and with Thanksgiving on the 4th Thursday of the month, right? We're not used to having like a week after that. So it feels kind of weird. So it almost feels like we're short a week for the month of or we have an extra week in the month of November, right? So yeah, okay. So that's coming up in. Who's going to be up in San Francisco with this book?
It'll most likely be one of the pork chop gang. His name is Josh. He'll be running the booth up there, and we'll have the interior artist Eric Ruiz will show up on Saturday, and the cover artist for the Jaws cover, and he did the Shepherd Fairy Obey homage. He'll be there on Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, it's a possible chance that we can like run into those guys. We'll be there. Phillip will also be there. That's his backyard. So that'll be cool to see there. And then the following weekend,
I'm doing the show too. Actually, I'm splitting a table, so I'll see you on the floor.
Fantastic.
Very cool.
And then you're going to be taking it to LA Comic Con.
Yep, we'll be at. I'm actually a guest at LA Comic Con, which I'm incredibly happy and humbled to be a part of that show. So we went there last year, had a really great time, and we're hoping for an even better turnout this year.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, and we'll be at that show as well as a guest. And
awesome.
So we'll be happy to see everybody. In fact, it's kind of interesting. There's actually quite a few people that we've had a guest on the show, and they're all going to be at the LA Comic Con.
There's a
great
question.
Okay.
By Stevie B.
All right.
Did you consult with Taco Bell Chihuahua in order to get some insight?
Unfortunately, the Taco Bell Chihuahua's name was Gidget, and she passed away. But her memory lives on, and her spirit is with us in this book for sure.
Somebody asked about Shelley Bond. Yeah, that was Shelley Bond, the editor at Vertigo.
The editor in Vertigo. Yeah, that was by Robin.
David, the Chihuahua that was really mean? What was her name?
Coco.
Coco?
Which we named the dog in the comic book Coco after her.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
I had a really mean dog too, and his name was Happy. But you know what? I learned so much from that guy. I learned the quote from him: "No pain, no shame."
I don't think the dog was mean at all. It just had a lot of bark and no bite.
Yeah, seriously, like he just did not care. He just attacked anything or barked at anything. He would just pee on everything and anything.
But I find that typical of many small dogs. They just bark, but there's no bite.
Absolutely. I've got right now I rescue, we've got a Chihuahua rescue and a Pit Bull rescue. And when guests come over, I have to lock up the Chihuahua, but the pit bull is a lap dog. She just crawls on people's laps and wants to be pet. But the
Yeah.
Chihuahua, it does not do well with people. It attacks
Yeah.
everybody. So.
Yeah. I think it's because of their smallness that they're like that. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I think so too. Do you think it's kind of fundamental because they're so small that they feel insecure? That's why they attack all the time. And can
Probably.
that
Yes.
apply to can that apply to human beings?
Oh,
Where
yeah, all the
the
time.
more
Yeah.
insecure you are, the more aggressive you are.
Yeah, sure. Look
Well,
at Napoleon Bonaparte.
right. And it's any group
Wow.
of like smaller guys at the gym are always going to be the first ones to start a fight, not the like biggest guys there. So
Yeah,
there's something to be said for it.
So David,
Yeah.
as Comic Book Dumb's foremost expert on Chihuahuas, would you say that people put Chihuahuas in their purses in order to keep them safe from us, or us safe from them?
Well, at that point, the dog is an ornament more than an animal. So I think those dogs are just waiting to get out. You know, that's the thing, is that never turn your back on them, even if they're dressed up and freshly groomed and waiting in somebody's purse. Still dangerous. So
Yeah.
I hate Chihuahuas.
Yeah. I think I'm a dog lover, but I'm not a fan of Chihuahuas either. And I have been confronted by Chihuahuas many times. And I'll ignore them as best I
Mhm.
can, but sometimes they do get too close, and so I will have to defend myself.
I always tell people, if you love Chihuahuas, you'll love this comic book. If you hate Chihuahuas, you're gonna love this comic book. You know, it's like no matter which
Yeah.
side of the fence you fall on, there's something for all
Yeah.
parts of the spectrum.
Yeah, you know what it's like? It's like Garfield. Okay, I'm not a cat lover, but dang, I love that comic book strip. I used to read that every Sunday, along with like other stuff. But my favorite was Garfield, right? So much
Yes.
so that they came out with that Klingon Garfield stuffy that you could like cling to like a window.
The paws out.
Yeah, I had that, and people that knew me would like get me all these like Garfield stuff, uh, birthday cards and stickers and other merca like that. It was a lot. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, Garfield is the reason why I ended up hating cats. Yeah,
Eat
until
all
I
your
really,
lasagna. Or?
yeah, I hated him so much because he was so mean. He was especially the dog to the dog. What's his name? He was such a sweetie.
Odie.
Odie.
Oh,
Gosh, I loved Odie. I felt so
yeah.
bad.
A lot of people felt sorry for Odie, but yeah, he's a nice
Yeah.
dog.
Mhm.
But later on, through my friend, I actually grew up with cats after with the roommate, and I learned to appreciate them. So Garfield did a number on me for sure.
I remember in the 90s, okay, and we would, so my friends and I they would like look for plushies of like Garfield and Odie. And the prices on Odie were, some of that stuff was just like skyrocketed out of the roof, right? Because he was so cute and collectible that a lot of people liked him. And then Garfield, yeah, he didn't go up as much, but he had his moments as well. But
I still have my Garfield ruler from elementary school. It's like 1981 or something.
Oh wow, yeah. Yeah, that's the same thing. That's about the same time that I was like really into Garfield. I just, let's see, 1981. I got out, or I just came back from basic training, and yeah, and all my friends were like giving me gifts of Garfields to welcome me back and everything. So yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. So I don't know, maybe Night of Chihuahuas, Coco has that possible chance of reaching like Garfield's fame.
Oh, speaking of like childhood, the Garfield for Nate and David and even Phil.
Hmm.
The Winnie the Pooh cartoon series.
Yes.
So, which characters did you like the best?
For me, it was always Eeyore, and I think everybody always called me that because I was grumpy and depressed all the time. So
Me too. I love the Eeyore.
That was
I
great.
was a Tiger guy.
Well, let's say hello to some of the peanut gang here that's here tonight. We've got Marissa Burton, Steve Vendetta, Robin Fuller, Stephen B is in the house as well. Thank you guys for coming out and joining us tonight. Don't forget to put in # EXP SketchUp. And if we get enough people in here, we'll give away something. JD, give me the count when you can, and we'll see what can we do to work that number up there.
Hey, this is fun fact. Napoleon was average height for his time.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Is it like 5'7", 5'6", right? Which
was he 5'7"? I thought he was shorter than that.
Yeah. And for a Frenchman in the 18th century, 19th century, that was average. But
so you're saying I'm shorter than Napoleon?
That
I'm shorter than Napoleon.
Great.
By a half a foot. No, not that short. Yeah.
Oh, so what about you guys? Besides David, Winnie the Pooh favorite character?
What?
Tigger.
Tigger?
Yeah,
Tigger.
Tigger for me.
Although
I'm identifying more with Eeyore as I go on.
I was
Eeyore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get rolling, guys.
All right, Nate.
Bye.
Well, thanks
Thank
for
you, guys.
joining us tonight. Enjoy the class, and we'll be looking forward to Killer Hair.
All right.
And when you're ready to launch that book, let us know, and we'll bring you back on.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. Everybody say
Bye,
goodbye
Nate.
to Nate.
Bye.
Later, Nate.
Hi, Nate.
All right. Okay, and we have Phillip.
Hello.
He's working on what are you working on, Phillip?
So this isn't a comic book sketch cover. It's a blank sketch cover to a blank comic book. So it's a sketchbook.
Right.
I've actually done one of these. I think somebody came up to me at a con, and I did an interior. So they just basically you just walk around and you it's just a very specific themed sketchbook. So I'm doing a Vampirilla. I've never drawn her before. I have no idea what I'm doing. So
okay, and what's the starting bid on that?
I don't know. Usually for a comic, I'm inking this obviously, and I'm going to end up painting it. Usually I'd sell it at a show at like $225, but for your audience, maybe we could start it at like $150.
Okay, we're going to start that bid at $150 there on the Vampirilla piece that Phillip is working on. And Mog, what are you working on?
You gave me this character called Thunder.
Thundar.
Thundra.
Thundra from Marvel.
Thundra. No, Marvel Fantastic Four, I think, right?
Yeah, some Fantastic Four is part of Marvel.
Thundar is the barbarian.
Yeah, not Thunder the Barbarian. But anyway, so if you want to bid on those, you can do so in the comics.
This one I would start with 150.
When we come back, we're going to take a break right now, but when we come back, we'll go over some other things that we have on option, right? So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Go follow the experience on TikTok at @the_EXP1 or scan the QR code on the screen. Our TikTok is like everywhere else we are, except you only have to deal with us for a minute. Seems like a win-win to me.
Comic Collectibles is a pretty straightforward show. You got Rex here, he sells the comics, and you got Rockin' Robbie, he knows about the comics. And finally, John, well, no one really knows what John does. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great guy, but he just keeps showing up. Come to think of it, I don't even really know how he gets in here. Anyway, awesome comics, rare books, rarer signatures, slabbed books, and amazing cover sketches by Ken Hazer and others. Simple formula, you want the comics, you buy the comics. To sum up, Rex sells the comics, Robbie knows the comics, and John, who might possibly be a ghost. I mean, seriously, has anyone ever seen him show up or leave? Comic Collectibles with Rex and John, Mondays from 6 to 8 Eastern on The Experience. Comic Culture and Sales.
What if Hans Gruber from Die Hard had to battle the Joker from Batman the Animated Series in a dance battle? Or who would win in a race between Baby from Baby Driver and Snidely Whiplash? If Austin Powers and Shrek found themselves in a hot dog eating contest, who would emerge victorious? These are the questions we talk about on Nerd Killer Warfare. Debate the most absurd questions you've ever heard in popular culture. Register now by scanning the QR code or visiting bit.ly/EXP casting.
Well, I'm covering for Mel because he has a bathroom. So, Mel will be joining us. So, I forgot what we were going to say. We were talking about before.
I apologize to break in, Mark. I don't think your mic is connected right now.
Oh. Can you guys hear me at all, though?
I can hear you, but not from your direct mic.
Yeah, I'm hearing you from Mel's
like it's
mic
coming
over
from
there.
your computer.
Okay, Phil, if you can take over while late. Fiddle with the mic, please.
Go take over Mel's spot. It's a revolution. Power of the people.
The
Going on?
overthrow is begun.
I noticed that Mel was a ghost.
So Phil, with those sketch blank comic books, is the intent of that supposed to be that you take them to the show and then you get a lot of different artists all doing the same character within?
Yeah, so I haven't seen a lot of them. And actually, funny, I got this from Mel, and we both had no idea that it was blank inside. I opened it up because I always check out the comics that are inside, to one, for reference, and two, I want to read them. So I flipped through them, and I opened this up. I was like, oh, crap, was this not supposed to be sold? And I looked at the front. It said blank comic book, not blank comic book cover. So I realized what this was, is this was a sketchbook. So what people can do is they can get these, and, you can get different sketches of Vampirilla or whichever book you happen to get of the different characters. So if this was an X-Men book, you'd get X-Men sketches. I think it's kind of a cool idea. I had not encountered one before, and I think it's a cool idea. And I thought, well, never drawn Vampirilla before. Let's go for it.
Very cool.
Yeah, I can't attest to the paper that's inside. It just kind of looks like
just like photocopy paper, or
yeah, it looks like kind of heavyweight text.
Okay.
It could, you probably couldn't do anything too crazy on it, but it's kind of neat.
Yeah, no watercolors, right?
You could probably do something like really, really, really dry. That's what I would do. I've seen some stuff, and I've seen some stuff that I think what I've seen is I've seen most of like ink sketches though, which is what I normally do in someone's personal sketchbook. Okay. I have used some water, and I've had to go really dry with it.
I will confess, I've never read a Vampirilla comic book, so.
Neither have I. And so actually, for sketch covers, I don't do a lot of research because they're just sketch covers. But I did do a little bit on Vampirilla just to see if I could come up with an idea of something other than just like her on the cover with her ridiculous costume. I never draw stuff like this, but whatever, right? So apparently she's been retconned a couple times, and she's had a number of co-creators. I guess there was one guy that came up with the concept, and one person who was the artist, she designed the costume, and then Frank Pizzetta redid the first cover. And part of her retcon was that she is supposedly the daughter of Lilith, um, Adam's first wife, before she was cast out. So I thought it might be cool for her to be eating an apple that she stole from the garden.
Nice.
Which her mother was supposed to be cast out. That way, again, I didn't want to just draw. I didn't want to just draw some half-naked chick on a cover. That's not something that I do. But I happen to have this in my hand, so that's what I'm doing, is drawing a half-naked chick on a cover. But she's got an apple, so it's okay.
So there's more to it than just skin.
Let's pretend yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is my mic okay?
Yes.
Say again?
Am I echoing?
No, it sounds better.
Awesome. David, you were like a movie critic with Nate.
So Nate, I was a writer and director, and Nathan was the film critic, and so that's how we met. Was that he did a review of one of my movies.
Okay. What's like the one good advice? Not one, but a couple good advice that you could have given yourself maybe 20 years ago?
Start smaller. Work in, so like my little brother right now, he is definitely doing it the right way, where he started off just doing YouTube shorts, and then he made a really good name for himself. He got a lot of practice with cameras, with lighting, composition of how to stage a shot, and then he's moved up to, now he's working for an artist named Bazzi, a recording artist, and he's his like creative manager right now. And so, you start small, you learn the ropes. I jumped right into features, and I was like, I'm just going to make features and figure it out as I go. And that's a very long process, because it's like a 30 or 45 day film shoot, and you're wearing everybody's patience when people are learning on the fly and just trying to figure this stuff out. So it's like, I wish I would have told myself to be more patient, not try to do too much at once. Learn the ropes on these shorts that you can just spit out, and if nobody sees them, who cares, because you just spent a few hours to do it, but you learn something, versus going right into features where now there's money on the line and there's people, you're requiring a lot of commitment from your crew and your cast. And my imagination has always been big, has always been with these bigger stories, and so it took me a long time to kind of learn how to manage those into smaller, bite-sized, more digestible bits that you can still put out there and make mistakes on, and it doesn't matter, because that's what those are made. That's what those are made for,
Did you go to film school?
I did. I went to Purdue University.
And would you recommend that? Because the landscape of art school and expense and the internet has changed, whether people's perception of whether or not they should be going to art school. Would you recommend that people who want to get into film still go to film school?
It depends on what you're trying to do. I would say that with a heavy caveat of, I would not recommend anybody go into debt for film school. But if you have, you know what I mean? Like, don't take out student loans and put yourself into like 6-figure debt for it, because you could just as easily with your iPhone 15 or, the camera on that, you can shoot stuff that is as good as like when I was coming in and we were doing the actual 16 millimeter film and 8 millimeter film. And it's like, you can do so much more right now, and you can learn for free and not be going into debt and not have to take like, science classes, math classes, and all these other classes that you don't really need. Well, I had to do that for my degree, but some film schools don't. But and then the biggest thing with film school, the reason that you would go to film school is because you're trying to network and you're trying to create your tribe that you're going to graduate with, and you're all going to work together and you're all going to help push each other and contribute to each other's projects and all these things. If you can find that without going to film school, then you would have just as much of a chance at creating art as you would, going to film school and paying a bunch of money and maybe not getting out there and, getting your hands dirty and going into the trenches. So like, if my kid wanted to go to film school, that's exactly what I would tell them, is like, if you go to film school, do it because you're going to USC, UCLA, somewhere in California or New York, where you're going to be surrounded by people who are immediately going to leave this and try to break in, and then you're all kind of each other's network and support group. But if you're like if your university or your film school doesn't have that network established, it's probably not worth it. Take some online tutorials and then do it yourself with some friends and learn the ropes that way. And then that way you could still make short films, submit them to festivals, submit them to competitions. If that's the route you're going to go, you might as well, learn as you go instead of paying a bunch of money to do it. So that was kind of a rambling answer. I don't know if that satisfies.
I absolutely
Sounds a lot
agree.
like art school.
I absolutely agree with you.
Cool.
And that doesn't include just a film. I'm talking about art as well. Like don't go into debt. If you can save maybe, I don't know, 10,000 and then put on the side and then just take online courses and then keep on churning it out. I think that's the best way, really. And you're right, the school is just like a glorified place to network.
Yep, absolutely. The biggest takeaway I had from film school is I met some few people that are still to this day some of my best friends and that still work in the film industry. That small group that we graduated with that moved out to LA and that did that. I mean, we were a very small group that did, there was a lot of people in our graduating class that just stayed in the Midwest. And, Chicago did have a film scene, but I don't know how many people really got established over there. So I don't know. I always think to myself, like, if I could go back in time and do it over again, that's the advice I would give myself. Salud.
Yeah. That's one thing too. If I could go back in time, I would tell myself, don't go to art colleges. Save money.
So I guess this question would go for would go for both of you, because I've never been to art school. I'm basically self-taught, and I always felt that I would have learned more faster had I gone to art school. Not only there's the network aspect of it, but there's also the structure. Like I've tried online classes, I can't do it. if I'm going to spend time, making art, I've done one online class, but that was because we were given assignments and it was interactive and it was live. You'd meet, for like 4 hours on a weekend, and then you'd have a week to do your assignment. And so that was like deadline oriented. But like when you do like video classes and stuff, I can't do it. But the advantage of school was, or I would say would be structure. So I get my question for both Mog, because she went to art school, and for you, David, would be, do you find anything academically advantageous about going to film school or art school at all? Or it's just not worth it just because of the high expense?
Okay, so for film school, the way that I put it is that, so let's say you're trying to get into shape, right? You're exercising, you're trying to put on muscle and lose fat. You can absolutely do that by yourself. You can do that in your house. You can do that in your apartment, in the park. You can do that wherever you want, right? There's nothing stopping you from doing that. But if you have a really good teacher who is showing you why your form is bad on push-ups, who is showing you why you're not getting the most out of your exercise, you will have better results. It's like the right coach can absolutely help you better than if you're doing this on your own. There are some people who can make that work online. There are some people who respond well to that. I'm kind of like you, Phil. I personally enjoy the teamwork and the social interaction that you get through an actual school and having an instructor sitting across from you and helping you out. So for my writing, I think my writing was like, it was prolific, but it wasn't going anywhere until I went to school and had somebody explain to me like why my characters were static, why I needed more conflict, why I needed like all these fundamental theories that you could read about those online. But until I actually had somebody coaching me through it, it didn't have the same effect. So I think in that area, school was really important for me as a writer.
Yeah, I agree with you, David. I learned to have a thick skin because over there, you're paying thousands of dollars per instructor, so they're going to be brutal with you. It's not like when we go around showing our artwork to people at the con, and they're going to just say, "Oh, it's really nice," just do a little bit here and go on. But over there, yeah, they're brutal, and that's one thing that I really, really appreciate. But it's a heavy price to pay for the truth. And,
Heavy price, right?
but the discipline part, yes, I think maybe all three of us are the same, where it's not real to us unless we see it, like physically. So discipline is going to be very hard for us, unless, why don't you take that money that you're going to pay for the courses and fraction of the cost, hire a manager and have that person hound you like from hell, like you're in perdition, then yes. But David, don't you think that's kind of realistic? Isn't it much cheaper to hire somebody who's gonna be super mean to you? I mean,
yeah. I will say too, one of the things that kind of like what you just said, Mog, where these teachers are kind of built to break you almost, and
yes.
It's incredibly important to get that experience, because once you get out into the real world and you're presenting your art, people are brutal, and especially now that everything's online and everybody's got a keyboard and can say whatever they want from the safety of their house. It's like you're gonna get broke. You're gonna get bent, and so if you can't bend, you're gonna break. And the teachers, especially at the school that I went to, a lot of them were former entertainment industry or still worked in the entertainment industry, and they reduced kids to tears, and it was sad at one point, but at the other point it was also kind of like, if you're really sensitive to criticism and if you really can't take somebody giving you feedback, probably not the industry that you want to be in. So maybe it's better to learn that now than, decades or a few years into your degree program.
So before you went into college, David, would you say you were confident or on the arrogant side, or you never were?
I was never arrogant, but I was very stubborn. And so that was where I got into trouble, was that I was very much like, and in high school and stuff, I was in like hardcore bands. And so we were always like, screw you, we're going to do it our own way. We don't have to listen to anybody. And that mentality stayed with me through college, where when I had instructors like trying to explain to me why this wouldn't work, I was like, you know what, I'm going to make it work. I'm going to figure it out. You guys don't know what you're talking about. And then of course I was like, oh man, you guys were right. My bad. Lesson I had to learn. I'm that type of person though, where I've always had to fail. Like I learned through failure. I learned through mistakes, and that definitely happened early in my career. And I think I don't think I'd be able to have the patience that I have now or the work ethic that I have now had I not gone through so much of that. But the willingness to stick with it, even after all that, has been a lot.
But as romantic as it sounds right now, we're talking about being disciplined and critiqued and all that, Phillip.
Say again?
As romantic as it sounds, about saying college was great for critiquing, kind of like boot camp, I guess, like discipline. I graduated, I lost it. So it's like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Yep.
I only started to really get disciplined when it became my full-time career. Because
when it came to making money, I became disciplined. When I do something for fun, I just toss everything out the window.
Because hey, let's be real, David. Like I said, David, me, it's not real until we see it.
Yep.
We could have a very active imagination, but for us, it's not a problem until the problem is literally like I can touch it. That's why we suck at discipline.
That's exactly how I am.
Right? But David, like, is that true? You kind of started writing like crazy a lot more when you got paid for it? Or
oh yeah. Oh yeah, I had a podcast that hired me. I remember they were like, you've got to write 10 episodes and you've got to write them in 2 months. And it was hilarious because I was just like, I hammered those suckers out. I was doing it. I would have never been able to do that though if it had just been like a producer who was like, hey, we want to pitch the series, but we need you to write it and we don't have any money for it. But if you write it, we're going to try to sell it. At that point, then you're like, man, I don't know about
Yeah.
that. But as soon as
Yeah.
there's that you're going to be able to show somebody something and that it's going to get out there, absolutely.
Yes, that's one thing. Also, if it's for me personally, I can't do it. Like my discipline sucks. But if it's for someone, suddenly like everything, all my cowardice, bad behavior, all of it goes out the window. I have to help this person. I mean, this person relying on me or something, then it just goes all in. It's crazy.
No, I know a composer like that because he wouldn't compose. I used to write music for drum lines and for marching ensembles and bands, and he and I started our respective websites where we'd sell sheet music, and I would compose for stock, because I didn't have a lot of clients at the time. But he had been composing and arranging for a long time, so he had a number of clients, so he had a number of arrangements that he could put up, and we were kind of talking about it, and he was he was amazed that I was composing on my own. And I said, you don't do that? You've got a bunch of music on your site. He says, it's all client work. If I don't have any clients, I'm not writing. So that kind of sounds like really similar. Like if it's not like doing something for yourself, for some people seems hard. There needs to be some sort of other purpose other than, drawing for fun or painting for fun.
Yeah.
Apparently I'm Mel now because I'm checking the
Did you get
chat.
switched on the screen?
Well, no, I find myself looking at the chat and realizing that some of these really need to be read out loud because David, you had the gym analogy and you were saying that like it's good to have somebody who will help you along to improve your technique, and she was saying that and also you won't hurt yourself. But she had a question about something that Mog said, which is the managers. So which kind of ties into my question as well. So if you can get the academia part of what you need out of art school or film school, either online or through small outfits like SBS Learn or Schoolism or whatever, or even like local private teachers, or if you're disciplined enough, YouTube and video courses like what is it, Nom Nom or something. So one, you're not always getting feedback unless you pay for it, obviously. So that begs the question, what's the quality of the teaching like in your experience? And then second, if you decide not to go the academic route and you say you use Mog's suggestion, Mog found Mel, but like I don't have a manager. How did people? So Robin's question was, how did you find a manager to do exactly what it is that you're saying, and what type of things did you look out for? Because not all managers are like Mel, where Mel knows, illustration and comic art, and he knows the business. Where some managers know business, but they don't know jack about art. And, I know somebody who was encouraged to do a style and in content of fan art that she didn't want to do, just to make money. She wanted to do other artwork. So, this person wasn't necessarily taking advantage of the basically a good music producer takes your music and makes it better, doesn't try to make you a different band. So along those lines, what's the quality of academia comparison in your experience between going to school and what you're seeing online? And then if you go the management route, what do you look for and how might you go about finding one?
That's like an incredibly difficult thing because there's a lot of oh, real quick, I did want to say I didn't realize that I could see the chat and I just saw the chat and I'm
Yeah.
like Stevie B House Collectibles. I'm not laughing out loud because I'm trying to be professional, but oh my god, Diedrich, I do look like Diedrich Bader in this. Not in
That's
person.
really funny. I saw that.
If you met me, you wouldn't think that, but on the screen, I absolutely do. So yeah, I wish I could do some
Stevie,
Rex
you're not
Kwando for
asking
you.
to say, "Ooh, what a lovely tea party."
Yeah. My favorite Diedrich Bader is still from Office Space, so I'm not going to repeat those lines here. But
It's a family show. It's a family show. As far as I know,
yeah,
it's a family show.
exactly. But that is quite funny. Wow. Although now I'm all self-conscious because I keep looking at myself like, do I really look like? Yeah, I do. Okay. So go back to the manager. There are tons and tons and tons of predators out there who will try to take your money to give you advice, or who, you know, the thing is like you've got to treat it like dating. And when I say that, I don't mean like, hopefully you're not having like an intimate relationship with your manager, because then you're blurring all kinds of lines. But
me?
what's that?
Like me, they ended
Yeah,
up dating
well,
the manager and blurring
that's
the
different.
line. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's different though. That was love. So,
You
but
guys
with
love first.
no, but with a manager, you shouldn't be the one pursuing them without them wanting the best for you, and then also vice versa. If a manager is coming after you saying like, "Hey, I want to help you with your career. I've got this idea. I've got a vision for where you should go," and you're not feeling it, that's not a relationship you should be in, because it really has to be beneficial for both people, and it has to be somebody that you trust and that you honestly believe has your best interest in mind. And a manager can be very successful, but it doesn't mean they're going to be successful for you. So it really is about having those heart-to-heart conversations, those honest conversations, which, once again, if you're dating somebody, you should be doing this as well. But it's like, you've got to really dig and find out why they're into this, what their long-term goal is for you, because a manager is essentially, kind of like a training racehorses. It's like they've got to have the long game in mind of where you're going to be 30, 40 years from now, and how you're going to get there. And then they should have a concrete plan for that. And if they can't provide that to you, if they can't put that into words for you, that's something that should be sending off red flags all over the place. You're only going to find a manager by getting your work out there. It can be in-person networking. It can be just having your art in public spaces where other people can see it and comment and critique. So if you're not putting your work out there, you're not gonna find these types of people. So the best thing I can say is, wherever your community is locally, the artists that are publishing their work, or that are doing launch events for what they have, be there and mingle, introduce yourself, offer to help, you know offer your insight, things like that. And then you'll put yourself in that same networking space as the managers where they are. So you want to be able to be found, but you know watch out for people who are a little bit too aggressive, I guess.
So you're saying don't go around telling people I'm single and I need to be managed.
I learned that the hard way, so that's why I'm saying this.
When you're starting out, they can't pay you. I mean, because you don't have money, but you want to learn so desperately, right? Um, Hey Mel, can you mute me? Can you mute yourself? Because I hear echo. Okay, thank you. So I was thinking, because what they do is they work as an assistant for free. So they back in the days in the master's field type of thing, they work for free, they assist everything, and then they start on that.
Mog, I'm separate that your mic is very distorted. I don't think we can really understand you.
It's coming in really low, Mog.
I feel like somebody should be whistling like some sort of easy.
Is it okay now?
jazz.
Oh, there you
Hey,
go. That was great.
That's nice.
Okay. Well, back in the days, like they had these guilds. So it's similar to that in Japan. They go to one artist that they really like, and they want to kind of emulate that set of style and everything. And then they work as an assistant, like a free slave, literally, like cook, clean, everything, which, you know, everybody needs. So, and then yeah, they learn from then on, like from that up. That's one way. But who's going to, I guess, that's gonna be creepy, I guess, like people on your doorstep coming at you.
Hey, it's Mel.
Another one is, I think you just have to find a really, even if they're not knowledgeable, like there's people who are just super organized. I think there's like life coaches out there who just want you to really like train you to be organized, almost like basic fundamental boot camp style. And if you can kind of do it in that way, I think just they won't know much, but they're gonna learn if they really care, and then you pay them. Of course, please don't do it for free. If you pay them, then they will start a structure and everything, and then help yourself in a way, like kind of teach you how to fish, and then check up on you and be like a drill sergeant. If it's even, I think even that, even if they can't do the networking and they don't have much knowledge, but the fundamental of discipline and organization and planning, if you get that right, it will just serve you to the end of time. I mean, that's just my humble opinion.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's a really good point as well. Like, just helping with sometimes when you're so lost in the weeds of what you're trying to create and the beautiful art aspect of it, sometimes having somebody who can really run those logistics or, you know, help you with that part is pretty critical.
Okay, well, thanks everybody for staying here. It's away, but we're going to go to a commercial break very soon. But let's review some of the items that we actually have. Several items that are going to be up on auction, and the first one is a set of books that are signed by David of his Night of the Chihuahuas. And the starting bid on that is $50, and you can see that all right there. Okay, these are the black and white bloody versions. You can see there's a homage of for Jaws there as well. So that's going to be all signed. And at $50, that's a very, very cheap price. And then we also have Infinite Luck. This is from Phillip Ginn. This is a Phillip Ginn 5x7 of this beautiful dragon, gorgeous dragon. There it is on screen. 5x7 piece in color, and starting bid on that is $50. And we also have another 5x7 that's called Honest. That also starts at $50. And the third piece from Phillip is Rising City. Beautiful piece. What size is that?
That one, huh?
I'm sorry?
That's it. You chose that one, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, what's
I mean, that's fine. That's a 22 by 15, 300-pound watercolor paper with acrylic ink and acrylic wash.
Okay, there you go. Right.
That's a 1100 though.
Okay, so that's 1100 there. Okay.
Yeah.
Big piece. Fantastic piece of our artwork that it definitely could serve as a centerpiece in anyone's home. And we also have 3 pieces from Mog. And the first one there is the Darth Vader, or steampunk Darth Vader, that is. And that's on a canvas. And that is, starting bid on that is $100. And then the next piece after that is a Darth Revan. That starts at $125. And we have the final piece is, we call it Japanese spaghetti, right? And what it is, it's Ahsoka versus Darth Maul in a samurai setting, right? So if you understand how the term spaghetti applies to that and how we use the Japanese theme, then you'll understand exactly what that means. We already have a bid for the dragon piece at $50 from Robin. Thank you very much for that.
Hey, thanks, Robin.
Okay. And on that note, we're going to take a break right now, and we will be right back with David and Phillip, right? So don't go away. We'll see you shortly.
Did you know that every experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out, twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code.
You just finished the last episode of your favorite news show, and you just have to talk about it. But all your friends are ghosting you because of that incident last week at the buffet. Oh, you know the one. What you did to that chowder. Ugh. Keeps me up at night. So what do? Join writer Dan Wickline as he breaks down all your favorite pop culture media. Whether it's a review of the latest nerdy TV show or a dive back into the history of your favorite comic characters, Dan's ready to discuss all the hottest topics live. Join the conversation as Dan live streams Tuesday through Thursday at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. The Dan Wickline Show, on The Experience, comic culture and sales.
Hey, welcome back to SketchUp. You're watching us on the Experience channel. Thank you all. Sorry I was absent on that second segment, but I had to take care of some important things. Right. So I don't know, what were you all talking about?
School, art school and film school. We interrogated David and Mog. Or I guess I did. I interrogated David and Mog about their schooling because I'm the only one that didn't get to go to school. Well, I didn't go to school. I shouldn't say I didn't get to.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, I didn't go to school either. Not for this. So I'm kind of like in the same boat as you, Phil.
Yeah.
But this is a discussion that Marg and I have had before, and my answer is kind of changed. We were talking about if you felt like it was necessary to go to school to learn your craft, to be a creative in comics, right? And initially, my thought was that yes, you do. Okay, but it has changed now because the way we learn and what is available to us, there's a lot of sources out there that we can go to. And at times it feels like I can learn things quicker that way, because you've got like YouTube, which has so many videos on how to do things, including drawing and writing. There's classes that you can take up on there without paying the high tuition fees for a school.
Yeah, that was the consensus. They were also saying that there are some advantages to going to school, but you have to be willing to go into debt for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do think that there is still some advantages, but those advantages to me are getting smaller and smaller as we continue and improve on the content that we put up on there.
I will say, if you can find the right area, or where you live, like it was easier for me to find a community in the Bay Area than it was in Sacramento, just because of the type of artists and illustrators there were. There's a lot of fine artists in Sacramento, and a lot of them are so good. And I have friends in that community, but I always sort of felt like I was in between, because I wanted to do illustration, but I really liked fine art. So, but in doing conventions, I met a ton of people that I now call friends, and a lot of them are from the Bay Area. I met one person who still lives in Sacramento. Well, I know two people in Sacramento that do cons, but you know, that percentage compared to the amount of people that I've met in the Bay Area, and having that sort of group to be able to chat with and sometimes get together with, and, you know, draw and have coffees is nice. It was easier. I think that if you can find resources to learn from through alternative means, and get feedback from hopefully your honest friends,
Right.
you know, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah,
Not maybe on par with, say, you know, a professor who's going to tear you down, but I think there are better ways to do that too. So,
because I do find that writers and artists are very friendly, and they are willing to teach you their craft. Right. So being here in LA, I've had the advantage of hanging out with some really good people. Guys like Phillip Ginn, Rob Liefeld, Danny Miki, Joe Benitez, and it goes on and on. Right. And that's an opportunity that I didn't have before I moved here to California and Hawaii. Hawaii is very limited. And it, you know, that kind of stuff just wasn't there. There were some professional artists there, like Steve Lealoha was out there, Stan Sakai is out there, but those were people that weren't all that accessible. Not like this the people that were here in LA. So that was an advantage when I got here and had that opportunity. That these guys were more open, and I could get anything from them, and not feel like I was being talked down to or insulted that I shouldn't be here at all.
But hey, I think I fixed myself. I mean, the audio.
Your audio is great.
Oh, yes. Okay. So.
Yeah, it does sound better. Yeah.
But you know, one thing I noticed, Phil, I think David, because you and I, we both went to school, so I'm wondering if you feel the same way. The danger of self-schooling is ego. I noticed it's, I think I've met a lot of egotistic artists. So I don't know, or creators, because there was no like pummeling them from all sides. There's a certain like a tunnel vision type of, which could be the strength, but also their Achilles heels.
So you're saying that the people in school were egotistical?
No.
Other way.
The other way. The one who self-teaches,
Mm-hmm.
they stack themselves up by themselves. So pride and everything just stacks up and stacks up. And if everything you hear around you is all like, oh, your art is amazing, blah, 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 without the actual truth, the ego is really like, can get in the way. So when they hear a real brutal truth once in a while, because come on, we're all nice and we don't tend to be mean. We don't want to be mean, right?
Mm.
And so when they hear that, they tend to either brush it off or, you know, just, I don't know.
Yeah, they haven't had to, I don't even want to say run that gauntlet, but like they haven't had to work with others or to work to the expectations of others. And there are times where you can disagree, because I mean, God knows I did in school, where I would have a class and I was like, you know, this teacher, I disagree with everything they're telling me about my writing or about my filmmaking, but you have to learn to appease them to get the grade, and that is a big thing, because once you get in the industry, you're going to take commissions, you're going to take you may be in a position where you have to take a commission just to get the paycheck, and it might not be something that you're 100% in love with, but hopefully it's something that you at least are excited about, or willing to do. And then it's you're working with somebody who's going to be telling you, no, 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 not like that, do it like this. And then
Yeah.
if you've gotten up to this point without ever having to conform to somebody else's direction, then yeah, it can be a really brutal
Yeah.
awakening. And I've seen artists walk off projects like very early into it, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
are you kidding me? Like, that was
Yeah.
okay.
Because I used to be part of a system where we were teaching and we would kind of break them down. I had my instructors, kind of operated that way. I think I'm not sure what things are like now in drum corps, but my model of instructors were, very basically it's a military derivative of the activity, and so a lot of the structure, a lot of the commands, a lot of the discipline kind of come from that, and it was kind of like a breakdown thing. And you'd have criticism came kind of in the form of feedback, but when you got disciplined, it was through there was yelling and there's push-ups and running and stuff like that. But the difference is that when you find if you can find artist friends or a knowledgeable manager as an artist or a filmmaker and peers to give you feedback, that's more akin to working with rather than teaching. It's more of a mutual thing because you should be able to reciprocate that sort of feedback, which is funny because even though you're getting hired to take commissions and even though you're getting hired to do jobs, it is a collaboration. Stuff comes from the top down, sure, and at the very top there's money, but it's funny that nobody thinks of it as a collaboration when that's what it is, because everybody together is supposed to be creating a final thing. But because of the mere presence of money, I think that the teacher-student relationship or the stereotypical or the more typical day job boss-employee relationship takes precedence. That's like the default mode, which is kind of ridiculous. That's not how you create good product.
No,
it's not how you create good art.
You're right about that, and I think it's because of the just the culture of how it is in being in a college, university, or in an art class. But once you get out into the real world and you're starting to do this work for real, and a lot of us we do a lot of freelance, right? You learn that you've got to develop relationships, and those require a certain courtesy from you as well as them, because you want to be respectful. You don't want to, you learn easily, quickly, that you don't want to burn any bridges, right? Because that can come back to haunt you. Yeah, so not a good thing, right? So because of that, I think that the community is very nice. I'm not going to say that everybody's like that, because I know some professionals. I'm not going to say any names. They just are.
Give us that tea. Come on.
Yeah.
I will say this. So coming from the film industry and now working as much as I have in comic books, I think the comic book industry is like way more supportive, way better people at all levels, and just friendly and supportive and collaborative and encouraging. And when you work with people in the comic book industry, it's more of like, hey, do you want to collaborate? Let's make something go. It's not like these endless meetings and BS and like talk arounds that you have in the film industry. And there's so limited opportunities that they're constantly trying to like drag everybody else down so that they can get that one opportunity. And it's just, I've really enjoyed it. I've really, I'm moving forward. Like, I'm definitely super excited about having become a part of the comic book industry and being able to work in this. And it's been awesome. And and like you said, I have run across some bad apples, but not nearly as many as there are in the film industry at all.
And I'll back you up on that because I had my own production company in the early 2000s as well, and we were trying to put projects through Hollywood, and it's a lot of people just there's a lot of talk, and that's all it is, or people just saying that's not really worth it. There's a lot of it may not be come across as like totally negative, but it does feel like it is kind of like negative energy with the way how they deal with certain things. You feel like you have a green light and everything's all go, and then within 24 hours that green light can be taken away. There's no guarantee. It's nothing. It's always constantly up and down. You don't. Okay, yeah, sure, you got an okay. That doesn't mean anything.
I know. I used to always tell people, my family would always be like, "Why? What happened? Like last time we all got together, you had just gotten a check for a script. Why isn't the movie made?" I'm like, "That's just how the industry goes. It's like until production has wrapped, I'm not going to celebrate anything." Kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's so many heads that need to be on board, and you have to work up the ladder to get to all those heads, so that they all agree and are on the same page. And along the way, you're fighting for your project because they want to take this away, they want to break it up, they want to do this with it. They try to take as much from you as they possibly can. Where practically, but it's possible that by the time they do go along with it, and with all the changes that they've made, the project is totally different, and it's hard to put your name on it after that, right? And that's one problem that Todd McFarlane has right now in trying to get this new Spawn movie out there, is that Hollywood is just trying to take a big chunk of something that he's already made. This movie is like ready to roll, but they want to get him, charge him for this, for that, and he's telling him, "I don't need that. That's already done."
Yeah.
But they're just trying to get a
So
bigger piece.
I wouldn't be surprised if McFarlane just starts his own film company.
Yeah, he'll always have the HBO Spawn, the animated series was awesome. Like that'll always be my favorite.
Yeah. It's a matter of the only thing that he's asking for is distribution, and that's what he's lacking. Right, everything else he's got. They want to charge him for marketing. He's going, I don't need marketing. I can do my own marketing. I'm Todd McFarlane.
Yeah.
Todd McFarlane's out here in Arizona as well, and I know he's had the fortune of knowing a lot of people who have gotten a chance to work with him, and heard so many cool things, and how much he's really taken on like a mentor role, like at this stage in his career, of like really working to help out a lot of younger people that are coming in, which I think is really cool.
Jamie's
heard that as
needs
well.
to get with Taylor Swift. Boy, that is a hot ticket right now, Taylor
Man,
Swift.
what's your Travis Kelce would have something to say about that, but
Okay, Travis Kelce is a football player that
she's rumored to be dating or supposedly dating.
Yeah.
It all feels like a marketing stunt to me, but
that's exactly what I was thinking too. Doesn't seem to be much forward motion in this. The ball's on the 1 yard line, and it doesn't seem to be going across.
Yeah, they just keep doing laterals. So
okay, we're still on the 1 yard line. That's exciting.
She's just doing research for her next song.
Yep. She's gonna make a double album out of that one.
Hashtag cynicism.
Because they're pitching that she's going to be in a was it Marvel or the Star Wars movie? Because she's meeting with guys like Hugh Jackman and all. Like, it's probably Marvel then, with Hugh Jackman, the Deadpool guy Ryan, and all that. So yeah, so maybe they're just hyping it up for that. But I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. And not that I'm reading that stuff, but it just comes across on your Facebook page.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
You can't avoid it.
Yeah, I don't even click on it to read the articles. You're just catching the bylines right there and read it. Oh, okay. Next, whatever. Yeah. So let's go through the auctions one more time here to give everybody a catch up on that. So first up, we have the set of Night of the Chihuahuas, the black and white bloody versions. You get the full set, all signed by David. That's issues 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's a complete set right now.
Those are cool covers.
Wow.
Issue 4 on the all the way on the right. Sorry to interrupt. That's J Photos did that one. So it was teaching Nate's class.
Very nice. Okay, that alone is more than worth it. Okay. Who else did who did the other covers? Let's get those down.
All the way to the left is by a lady who's local here to Phoenix named Anastasia Still Smoking. That is her last name, and that's in charcoal, and it's amazing. It's like one of my favorite covers ever. Second in is a Bay Area artist named Tim, and I forget his last name, but he is part of a group called the Illuminaries.
Okay. Yeah.
And he did that one. And then third one in, that's our homage to Biggie Smalls, the Notorious B.I.G.'s, with the painting of him with the crown. And that one is done by a local artist here in Phoenix named Victor Irizarry. And then J Photos did the Last of Us inspired, the clicker. Instead of a clicker, we call it the chicker since it's a Chihuahua. So.
And that third cover was vicious, man. That's a bloody cover, yeah. All right, so the second piece that we have up for auction is the Dragon Infinite Luck that already has a bid by Robin at 50. So we are still accepting bids of 55 or higher on that. And the next piece is Honest. I feel like renaming that, but
What?
And that's a 5x7. Looking for an opening bid of 50 on that. And then we've got Cain and Abel. Whoa.
So that's actually, those are the 3 EC hosts. Cain and Abel was a commission that I got because of this. This is a Bernie Wrightson tribute with.
I was about to say that looks like Bernie Wrightson.
Mm-hmm. What's the what size is that, Phil?
That one's 11x17. Ink on bristle board. That piece was done for the Printed in Blood Bernie Wrightson art book tribute that was out last year. The big hardback gray one.
Who published that book?
Printed in Blood.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And that's a nice piece, and the starting bid on that is 400 on an 11x17. Okay. And next up we have Steampunk Darth Vader. That's from Mog Park. Starting bid on that is 100. Okay, this is a piece that was originally that Mog did that got scooped up by Nick Barucci. So, but here's your chance to get one that's on canvas. Okay, the second piece is also on canvas, and this is Darth Revan. If you're familiar with that character, you can see the detail.
I got to break it. I'm sorry, Mog or Mel. It is actually Darth Revan.
Revan.
Yeah, I apologize. It's just been driving me crazy.
Yeah,
thank you.
I was actually going to.
Mog has corrected me on that.
I was going to correct it, but thank you, JD. Thank you. Yeah.
Mr. JD is a stalwart.
Wait, but I thought they pronounced it Revan in the last season. No, the second to last season of the Clone Wars during the I thought they pronounced it Revan, not Revan, in that episode. You know, when Yoda goes through his trials and he's learning how to have his spirit exist.
Yes.
As part of the living force.
Revan is acceptable, but like JD said, the proper way, if you're really crazy, you can say Revan. But Revan is absolutely acceptable for me, but Revan is not acceptable. So yes.
Getting technical here. Okay. And the final piece that we have up for auction is spaghetti, Japanese spaghetti. Okay. And that's Ahsoka versus Darth Maul. And that's a good size piece as well.
I like that one.
All right. So that's what we have on auction tonight. You guys don't go away. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Why was Princess Zelda sad after watching a bunch of YouTube videos? She couldn't find the link in the description. We'll stop if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's super easy. Click subscribe and click the bell when you do. And thanks for supporting the EXP.
Imagine being at a convention and going to an interview panel that's just for you. No bustling crowds, no hours-long lines, just you, the moderator, and your favorite comic book creators. Well, this is pretty much that. Miss Jen sits down every week with 2 comic book creators for a live stream interview about their latest work, and you can ask them whatever you want. It's Talking Shop, Mondays at 5 Eastern on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
You know how when you go to Comic-Con, after Comic-Con, you go to the hotel bar, and there's a whole bunch of people playing music and dancing, and you've got Pikachu and Lara Croft Tomb Raider doing the cha-cha slide just down from Deadpool and Batman and Wonder Woman? That's every Saturday night over on the Experience Twitch channel. Join Taji Beats for the EXP Dance Party, exclusively on Twitch, twitch.tv/the_EXP. Programming on the EXP is made possible by viewers like you, or your local comic shop, or that Kickstarter you backed, or the publisher you like, or comic industry professionals who want to share a message with the world. Really, anyone who wants to advertise with us can. If you're interested in seeing a product you know and love, or are creating, or are publishing, or are involved with, advertised here on The Experience, and having your message shared with our viewers, please reach out by scanning the QR code below or visiting our website and using the contact form.
Okay.
No, Mel's gone again.
I'm here again. Yes.
Hi, Mog.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Going.
Thank you for
Your audio still sounds great.
Oh, thank God. Yes. I was looking up like while I was off, I was typing in like troubleshooting because I'm running this whole thing by OBS. I was like, OBS, why is my headset not working? And then doing step by step troubleshooting. I think it's working. So
Yeah, it sounds
awesome.
like it
Yay.
Sounds good.
So David, like, are you you're very good with his people and you talk very nice.
Thank you.
Did you grow up with siblings, like a big
Yes.
family? That's what I thought. Yes.
Very large Mexican family, very traditional, and I have 2 little sisters, so that's helped. And then my dad, after my parents got divorced, my dad remarried, and I have 3 siblings from his second marriage as well.
Yeah, that's a rare talent. Trying to getting along with everybody and say, just yeah, that's really awesome. Yep. Unlike Phil here. Phil, you have what? 2 kids? No, two sisters,
I have
right?
0 kids. I want to make that clear right now. I have 0 kids
That
Okay,
you're
but
aware of, right?
Yeah.
that I know of.
Yeah.
You have 2 sisters?
I have 2
Sisters?
sisters. Yeah.
Okay. See, so
My
you talk
sisters are not my
eloquently
kids.
as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are
Yep.
both younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the prince.
Yep. I thought so. What about you, David? Were you the prince?
I was my mother's prince, yes. Like in Mexican families, the firstborn male is always like, can do no wrong. So my little sisters still give me grief like all the time about that, even though we're all adults, but growing up, yeah, it's pretty hilarious.
Oh, so your dad was the strict one to you?
Yeah, I think I would definitely say that. My mother, it was always like, can do no
Mm.
wrong. So,
I wonder how that feels like growing up. You're like
I
a
don't know.
god to them. Like,
Did you have a big family, Mog?
yeah, four girls. I'm number 2.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, but I never had that feeling where they treat you like you're the prince or you can do no wrong.
Hmm.
So I wonder if that really helps build ego. I mean, confidence. I wonder.
I don't know. I never considered myself like overly confident growing up. I definitely, you know, learned to learn to share and cooperate very well because we always had like really small houses, and so like two bedrooms and
Yeah.
stuff. And so with two
Mm.
little sisters, myself and my mother growing up, it was always like stepping on each other, and you didn't really have any personal space. So definitely
Mm.
learned to deal with that. But I didn't. You would think, given the way that I was raised, that I would, but yeah, I really didn't. I actually had a lot of confidence issues. I actually had a lot of meetings and stuff like that where I'd freeze up or I didn't take opportunities because I didn't believe in myself. So I wish that it had that. I wish it had the
Oh,
opposite effect. Maybe other
okay.
people it was different. Maybe it's just the way that I'm, my brain composition. But yeah, it did do that for me.
Did that go away when you got married?
I think it goes away a little bit more the older I get. Now I think because of my age, I just don't care anymore, and so I'm like, I have that like apathy of somebody who's just like, you know what, whatever. I'll take the risk because I just don't care what happens. Like I don't care if I get
Mm.
rejected or if they say no. And
Yeah.
marriage definitely helped with that, though, for sure.
Yeah, same here. It's once I got with my man here, it was it. That's all I needed. You just need that one good person who's got your back no matter what. That's where my foundation is, and then you build from there. So
That's awesome.
yeah, I'm pretty sure you understand. Like maybe
Yes.
that's most of the time with men. Like when they get married, that's how it is. I found out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we feel like as long as we have your happiness and your support, and we know that we've made you proud, then
yeah,
everything else is gravy. And if somebody else
exactly.
disagrees, then it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter yet.
Hmm.
I just need that one person to be on my side.
Except now. Yeah.
Well, you found her.
I
That was way
think.
too sexy to have that in my ear, Mel.
Well, we can try to help you, Phil. We'll see.
Oh, I see Phil
Let's
is
see what you
doing
guys.
the.
Let's see where you guys stand on your drawings here.
Yeah, I was gonna say Phil is doing the red uniform, or her. I don't even want to call it outfit. God, what the hell is that? I've never understood what that. How is that practical in any way, shape, or form? To
It's not.
It's not. Yeah, it's the way how the comics were.
Yep.
Especially like back then when they developed it. All
So
the ladies
I
were
understand.
wearing skimpy outfits, which
Yeah.
didn't make sense at all. And come on, men wearing tights, that doesn't really make sense either. But hey, that's what we grew up with.
Well, I discovered yesterday or the day, whatever I came up with this idea. I can't remember her last name, but the costume designer, her name was Trina. So I don't think she came up with the concept of the character, and I don't know what prompted her to design this costume, but a woman did have a hand in designing it. So
Interesting. Okay, so Kenneth is writing. I'm not really quite making sense out of this, but I'll read this. I'd like to graduate the winter for tonight's giveaway graduation to money. Great prize tonight. Yes, you did one great prize tonight. I'd like to graduate the winner for tonight's giveaway.
I wonder if that was supposed to be, I'd like to congratulate the winner.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Winner for tonight's giveaway. We haven't given away anything yet.
Well, Kenneth is ready to congratulate the winner. So.
Kenneth has been a winner. And let's see, Stevie B writes, it's good for the artists. The costume took all of 2 seconds to color.
I would design it like that. I would design it like that. Because if my client keeps saying it's not sexy enough, so later on, out of sheer frustration, it's like, oh yeah, you want sexy? Here, 2 strings, take that, and then it would be like a joke, like inside joke for me. But yeah.
Okay. I was gonna try to do something with the giveaway, but that wasn't like that didn't work out tonight. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna give away 3 prints from Mog still. So get that in there, and we will spin that in about like 10 minutes or so, and that's what we're gonna give away right there. Okay. So if you are here, you will have a chance to win that piece. And Mom, can we see the piece that you're working on? The piece that can you hold that so we can get a better look at it? Okay, that's where you're at right now. And this was Thundra, right?
Thundra?
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Mog, you're muted because I unmuted you and then you remuted yourself. So I guess we should stop.
Oh, I have a
Yeah.
question is why do people say thunder thighs? What has thunder got to do with the thigh? No, I've been really curious.
No, I know you are. I think it's. I'm gonna let Mel answer that question.
That's all you, Mel.
Go, Mel. Do it. Mel, you're muted.
Anyway, so I was telling Mark that I would explain that to her in a more private moment when I mean, it's not that bad, okay, but
No.
yeah, I'll explain it to you.
Family-friendly show.
I don't know, because in my head, whenever anybody said thunder thighs, I feel in my head it's saying it's like huge tree trunk thighs. Is it true? Is that what it is?
It could be.
Oh.
Sometimes we get these questions from that are off from the left field or so.
Really?
I'm not even sure how that came up or what that was related to what we were talking about.
Because it's Thundra.
Oh, okay.
So I was thinking, oh, thunder thighs.
Well, you could say she does
basically,
have
she
thunder
played
thighs.
word association.
Yeah, okay, I got it. Yeah, that was JD saying that was the most Mog question that we've had on this show. Yeah, and that does it. Yeah. Hey, guys, don't forget, we have the set of Night of Chihuahuas up for bid. We are still looking for an opening bid of $50 on that. Okay. And visit the Night of Chihuahuas website if you want to get caught up and stay in touch with the story arc right there. It looks like it's a very good. It's got a very loyal following. Marg has actually done. What was interesting that Marg and Phillip did a piece. Worked on a blank sketch cover for Nathan. And, yeah.
So Mog's cover was actually the first one that we ever got graded. We had never had a
Oh,
graded
yeah.
comic before,
Right.
and we sent in the sketch cover that she did for us, and it got a 9.8, which I was really stoked about. So, because I know that that's kind of a difficult to get like a really high 9 like that, but it was
Yeah, especially after Mog works on it. It might have been a 9.8 when she reads it in her hands, but then when you do after she works on it and they turn it in, it's it comes back like a 9.4, 9.6.
That's amazing. That is amazing. To have my sketch cover come out as 9.8.
Yeah.
That's extremely rare. Good
It
job.
Yeah, and it was such a great cover too. I'm looking for it right now on my phone, but I know I've got a picture of it.
Yeah. All right, so we have that still. So don't forget that's available up for a bid, along with the other items. We do currently have a bid on the Infinity Dragon for 50. That's from Robin. You can bid on that for 55 or more. That's from Phillip, and also the other interesting piece is the Cain and Abel, the Wrightson tribute. That's still looking for an opening bid of 400. And Phil's other 5x7 called Honest. I'm looking for a bid of 50 on that. Right. And then Mog with her steampunk Darth Vader, looking for an opening bid of 100. And I've been corrected with Darth Rivon. Is that right?
No.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. No.
Okay.
Just say Revan.
Revan. Darth Revan.
Okay. All right.
We're looking for 125 on that. And then the Japanese spaghetti. That is, and that's a pretty big piece, actually. Let's see if you can see that. I've actually got it in my hands right now. It kind of gives you that, like, the visual on how big that is. Boom. And I forget what size this is. But
Mel,
yeah.
Steve is asking, are you saying Mog has thunder brushes? Yes.
Wow. Oh, man, Stevie. Always in the peanut gallery trying to crack me up. All right. Let's see what else we got going here. We had some interesting guests from last week. And they're all going to be up in New York Comic Con. So if you guys are up there, go ahead and check them out along with Nick Barucci. And who do we have from last week that's up there? Eric Arriaga, Ruben Rosas, and Martin Zavala. And Creative Keep writes, hi, Mel. Was that big one you just showed for sale as well? Yes, Robert. That is at 150, looking for an opening bid on that, for that piece. And that's actually one of Mog's better sellers. But that's a canvas print that is limited to 10. And this is one of them that we have left. Thank you for coming by, Creative Keep. Saturday as well. And JD, let's get ready. If you guys haven't yet put in # EXP, catch-up. We're about ready to roll that. Thank you very much for that, Creative Keep. That has a bid on it for 150. If anybody wants that, you can have a chance to take that at 155 or higher for the bid. Okay. But like I said, don't forget to put in # EXPs. SketchUp. We're going to get ready to roll this and give away these free prints. Now those prints, those two of those that you see, like the second and the third print, those were amazing Comic-Con exclusive prints. We just happen to have a few of those left. The first one is actually a print of a cover that Mog did for You Will Lose Vision. And we're doing a lot more with him, and you'll see more coming out from Fairy Metal, the publisher of that series, next year. Okay. So, all right. All right, JD, let's go ahead and get ready to roll, and let's see who gets these free prints. Dun, 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 dun. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Steve Vendetto wins that. Thank you very much, Steve.
Ooh.
Congrats.
And we will keep that. Don't forget to fill out the magic form and let us know what you all guys got before the show is over. That's JD will be popping that on the screen very shortly. Thank you, Kenneth, for hanging on in there. You are much welcome, Steve. All right. And how are you doing with that, Philip? Are you almost done with that piece?
No. Well,
okay.
I'd say 75% done.
75% done. And Mog, how much are you done on that?
Maybe 50.
Okay, Mog's at 50%.
Yeah, but the thing is, I need new pieces for the con anyway. So this is a good investment.
Okay. Yeah. So what is she saying is that if it doesn't get a bid or it doesn't sell, it's pretty cool because then we can take that piece to the shows. All right. And David, what is your next con?
We're going to be at the Motor City Comic Con in Detroit. Or actually, not.
Oh.
It's not in Detroit. It's in a little city called Novi, which is near Detroit. But that'll be Veterans Day weekend, the 10th of November.
Where are you located?
I'm in Phoenix, so
Oh,
we are.
okay.
That's going to be our first trip to the Midwest. We have some stores out there that have bought from us, and we're going to be kind of leaning on the support of some of our fans out there, and it's a chance for us to like really branch into a new market because we already have stores in Michigan, we have stores in Minnesota, Chicago, but that's the first show we're ever going to do in the Midwest. So I'm really excited. I went to school not too far from there, so I'm familiar with, I'm looking forward to a Midwestern fall and getting to meet some new people and spread the gospel of the killer Chihuahuas.
Right. Now, did we meet you in Phoenix?
Yeah, well, I think that was the first time. Yes, we were at the LA Comic Con the previous year, but we actually got to meet at Phoenix this last year, Phoenix Fan Fusion.
Okay. You're right. But I don't. Did you come by our table? Because I don't remember meeting you.
Yeah, I came by to talk to. I don't know that you were at the table when I talked to Mog after she had done the sketch, and I just wanted to because she and I both had to sign for the what is it? What do they call that grading company again?
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
CGC.
CGC. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, because we
Okay.
both had to sign the paperwork for that. But
okay. Yeah. Okay. Now I remember that part. Okay. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
yeah.
Right.
And then, like I said, we'll be at LA in December as well.
Okay. Both you and Nate will be there.
Actually, Nate will not be there, but I will be there, and we're going to have our artist who is from Sacramento. His name is Eric Ruiz. He will be there with me.
Okay, so we'll probably see Eric twice because we'll be in San Francisco and then in LA. So we'll definitely be looking for each other and something to look forward to. All right, so Stevie B is writing out: Are those covers from David's books offered individually on his website?
They are
Don't
not.
see them all.
Right now, those are promos. So we have not listed them out for sale. We're still kind of deciding if we're just going to make those exclusives that we take to shows or do giveaways on events and shows that we do like this. So.
But you have other covers of those issues 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, those. So the issues 1 through 4 that you're auctioning off today, those are special because they're the black and white versions of the existing covers, and those are all in color, with the exception of issue number 1, which is also black and white, but it's not washed out the way that it is in that special cover.
And then, from what I understand from Nate, is that you only have 2 of those sets available. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. There you go, guys. There's only 2 of those sets available, and they got them at $50. That is a sweet deal. Definitely want to jump on that, especially if you're into Chihuahuas. Okay, and I know a lot of you are.
Yeah, like I said, whether you hate Chihuahuas or love Chihuahuas,
you're gonna love this one.
Yeah.
Fear no Chihuahuas. All right, and bada bing. Okay.
Can you have a good horror even if it's PG-13?
Oh yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite horror films of all time is PG-13.
Okay, what is it?
The Ring, the American remake.
That's PG?
That's PG-13. So
no way.
It is, which blew my mind because that one terrifying moment, in my opinion, one of the most effective jump scares ever, when they cut to the body in the closet. That despite that moment, it is a PG-13 movie, and I'm actually gonna confirm that because what else just came out that was PG-13? I personally don't think that. I think people enjoy horror because they enjoy gore. They enjoy like, I don't want to say they enjoy violence, but they enjoy like the forbidden, and so it's like violence, all these things that are taboo. I did just confirm The Ring is PG-13. but I don't think it's required to be. You can make good horror. You can make great horror
Mhm.
without requiring that. So I just saw somebody posted the original Poltergeist was PG. The 80s PG was something way different than what PG is nowadays. Because I showed my kids the Monster Squad because I was like, this is like one of my favorite movies growing up.
Wow, the
The
Monster
Monster
Squad.
Squad, and it's PG, and they're dropping f bombs and they're dropping like homophobic slurs, and they're peeping on his older sister in the shower. I'm like, I got my head in my hands because I'm like, oh man, I just
Oh
should not have
man.
shown this to my kids. But I was younger than them when I watched it though. But it was hilarious. I still love the movie though. I absolutely love that movie, and it holds up really well, I thought. But yeah, 80s PG way different
Yeah.
than PG nowadays.
JD brought up Poltergeist, and that was a
Mhm.
PG rated movie as well, right? And even though it was PG, that was a scary movie for a lot of
Yes.
people because of how they told that story and the elements and the concepts that's involved in there. But yeah, when I watched it, I enjoyed that, but it wasn't scary at all, But yeah, for a lot of other people, especially the younger ones, it was very, very scary. I want to thank CVB for that.
Yes.
We got a bid on David's books.
Yay.
Thank you for grabbing that. Okay.
Yeah, that's cool then. Like you can be truly terrified with no
within rating PG, yes.
no
Mhm.
horror.
But then at the same time, too, on the other side of that, there are horror movies that are more like a comedy, like Beetlejuice,
Yep.
you know,
Yep. Beetlejuice for
or
sure. Up.
or Jumanji, things like that,
Yeah, I
So
think
it's
Tucker.
good.
Like some of my favorite horror are also comedy, like Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I would say Cabin in the Woods is very comedic. It might have leaned more into the horror than it did the comedy, but it was very self-aware and comedic.
Mhm.
I
Shaun of
think
the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead. Yep, Jinx. I think we both said it at the same time.
That's comedy.
Yeah, that was a brilliant one as well.
Yeah.
That's great.
So yeah.
Oh, Nate's back.
Oh, and Nathan's back, fresh
Hey.
out of class,
Yes.
able to make it here in the wrap up.
What's that?
Wow.
Able to get back in on the wrap up of the show. We're getting into the final minutes.
Yeah.
Like maybe romance.
Being PG and it's bloody good.
Which one was that, Mug?
Yeah. You mean like
Can
having
you have
just
a
a
romance
romance
Movie
movie
that's PG.
Yeah,
There's a
but
lot
it's
of those.
really good.
Yeah,
Not like
there's-
cheesy.
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm
but
trying
then
to
I
think.
do like some of the cheesy ones. Though.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of someone right now, but
Even
it's
comedy.
I was gonna say off the top of my head, I can't think of any, but I know they got to be out there.
I don't know
they
why,
are.
but I keep thinking My Girl, but My Girl was a young kid.
Yeah, that was young, but there's
That was
that.
sad.
There's like Secret Garden, things like that. But I do like Romancing the Stone. That was
Oh,
one
that's
of
a
my
good.
Oh, that movie was awesome.
yeah. There's a lot things like that.
I
Even
love
like
Romancing the
yeah,
Stone.
even like even when you look at like Indiana Jones, it's got that love romance story that's in there as well.
That's PG?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, what's that other movie that I thought was good? Eat, Pray, and Love. I think
Huh?
everybody kind of like that.
Oh, I didn't like it.
Or
I like the Joy Luck Club though.
that's a love. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh no, it's not. That's not love.
Walking on the Clouds.
Walking the Cloud.
Yeah,
I
with
saw in the
Keanu
chat
Reeves.
somebody saying Hector and the Search for Happiness. I have not seen that, but I would definitely put that on my list.
Mhm.
Okay.
Let's see. Craig Keith was saying I saw Poltergeist in the drive-in theater at 5 years old.
Oh no. No. Ruined my childhood. The thing is really scary.
Well, from a child's perspective, I think it is. When you see people that are disappearing in the ceiling or in the closet, you're going, "What the heck is that?" And then you got to go to sleep, and all you do is stare at your closet.
No, for me, in Poltergeist, the freakiest thing is when you wake up. Is it in the morning? The
Mhm.
house is in disarray, and you have no idea why. Like that is more. Yeah.
And there was other elements in there too, like the clown. Right.
Yeah.
That was really scary.
The clown, the way that the bodies all pop out of the pool at the end when she's in the water. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Trees scratching the window. Just, stuff that just gets you to think, I think I better cut that branch away from my window there. And I got to get rid of this clown.
Lately, Mel and I were talking about Fantasy Island. So I started watching the real, classic, 1978, was it? The first season. And it's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. It kind of holds up with the storytelling there. Yeah. All right. Anyway, we've kind of gone overtime a little bit, but I want to thank everybody for coming on tonight. Thank you for that bid, Stevie B, on the 4 covers of Night of the Chihuahuas, limited to only 2, signed by David. You'll be getting that shortly. And thanks to Robin for the bid on the Lucky Dragon for Phillip. And Creative Keep, dude, you're awesome. You're always a great supporter, and we'll see you soon and set up on that as well. Don't forget to check out Night of the Chihuahuas. Go to their website, order some books, give them some support. Look for them at San Francisco, Motor City, and LA Comic Con, and we'll be there too. Okay, make sure you join us next week. We will have Frank Cagmusa with us, and we'll be talking about his Kickstarter. Right, so hope you guys all enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will see you next week.
So thanks for having us on.
All right,
hey guys,
thank you.
Keep me on.
Keep me on.
Do you remember what it was like when you were a little kid and you got a letter in the mail? Now imagine that letter was filled with information about your favorite shows, pop culture questions, links to things you're going to want to see later, and even sneak peeks at upcoming programming here on The Experience. That's what the EXP mailing list is. Every week, we send you sneak peeks, information, and all of the relevant links for all of the shows you want to see. Sign up now on our website or scan the QR code that's on your screen right now.